Now we have our workflow in place. You saw the YAML file before, and let's see what is inside the YAML file and understand what is actually happening, or in other words, what did we define. So you see the name of the workflow, and you see the condition when to trigger. In other words, whenever someone opens a pull request to the main branch, so basically anytime code changes in the main, this workflow will start automatically. Let's say you create a pull request and it was merged, so that will trigger this workflow. So next, what we need to do, so this is actually the name of the job. So it can be, you can give any name, Playwright test or simply test. If you want to give a unique name, let's say regression test or smoke test or nightly test, you can give your own name. And then the runs on, we saw it, this is a Ubuntu server, and it spins up a new server when it's running the test. And this is very important because we want to get a clean environment every time we kick off a test. So just like the CI/CD, like Jenkins or any other CI/CD, when you have in the professional teams, when you're working, when everybody runs their own test, we want to make sure that they start on a clean machine. And then the next is the steps we need to add to the job. We need to tell so that the job will perform these steps when it runs. So the first step is to check out the code. We need to check out the code, the latest code from the master. Otherwise, our test will have nothing to run. And then the next is all the installation part. And we are going to tell what node version it is going to use. And we are going to tell what are the software we need to install to run the test. So it's going to install the Playwright browsers, and once it has everything installed, we have the dependencies and the browsers. So we are now ready to start the test. So now you simply run the command Playwright npx playwright test, just we did in the other video. When you run in this local, it's the same command, npx playwright test. So this executes all tests inside the test folder, and then when it runs, it shows the log of each step, just like you will see in any other CI/CD. So you call it the console output, and it's once the test is run, once the test is finished, whether it's passed or failed, it's going to upload to the target artifactory. So that's where your test results are. Once all the tests have been run, it runs all the tests in the test folder. You can even fine tune this test to, let's say, run only smoke test. So you can add more parameter after this, but this simple command simply runs all the tests in the test folder. So, and then it logs all the results, and you see which test is passed or failed. So you are running your test automatically on a clean server, just like a CI/CD pipeline. So this is the core of automation. And finally, we have the artifact upload step, and you can see here the upload command here. The actions is the upload artifact, and that is a GitHub action that lets us save file from the workflow, so you can download them later. And it says dollar and not exclamation cancelled, and this ensures that we only upload the report if the workflow was not cancelled. Let's say the job is running right now and someone goes and clicks the stop button and aborts the test. In that case, it will not upload to the artifactory. So this is the condition it says. If someone aborts the job, don't upload the action. Don't execute this action. If it successfully fails, if it successfully completes running all the tests, whether it failed or not, we are going to upload it to the target location. So, and the report, this is the name of the folder where we are asking the GitHub action to tell that is a folder that has the report that we want to save. So we have the upload step, and what are we going to upload? The entire content of the Playwright test result, the report. And the retention day is 30. That means the GitHub will keep this artifact for 30 days. After that, it is automatically deleted. So that helps us manage the storage and ensures older reports don't pile up. So we have seen this actions workflow, the Playwright workflow. So let's go back and see the actions tab and see the actions triggered. So previously we pushed something and I said as soon as you created this workflow, it triggered a initial workflow automatically. So it says 12 minutes ago, and it took 13 seconds to execute this. So let's click on this and see what it actually did. So it used this Playwright YAML workflow, and then it's executing all these steps. And you can see it failed, and it ran from the master. And you can see that as soon as I pushed this code to the master, this action triggered and it ran the test. So let's click on the test, and then and you can see the console output of what happened. So earlier we saw that the workflow initially one of the steps before running the test is to download all the dependencies. So you can see all the steps, and you can even debug and see, since this log was here, we can see what happened. And it says a complete log of this run can be even found in the following location. So you can go there and check the logs. And since it failed here, it didn't accept run the other steps, installing the browsers and then running the test. So let's see why this failure happened. So I'm going to you can even use the ChatGPT or any other Google Gemini to simply ask why this workflow failed. So when I paste the code, you can see here the ChatGPT. So this is how you can combine the AI, for example, to see. And it says the package.json should be there, and these things should be there. So you can actually troubleshoot it because we have this nice log here, and then you can use the AI or to troubleshoot to debug it quickly too. So once you have this error fixed, so you can see the steps are sequential and it happens one after the other. Let's say this step is passed, it will then continue to install the browsers and run the test. And you can see here, once the test is run, it has an action to upload to the Artifactory. And since the test didn't run, so the report folder would not have been created, or there will not be any files there yet. So it says no files found, so no artifacts will be uploaded. So that's a nice thing. It logs even that error, and then it proceeds further, and then it does the post-run job is cleanup. And you have any cleanup, you can add your custom cleanup step. And it says all these things, so you can go through it, and it finally cleaned up the orphan processes. So that is how the workflow works. So you define when this workflow need to be triggered, and make sure you have the workflow in the root of your project. So it's a YAML file, and you define all the steps. And once you have the steps, all you need to do is commit or do the appropriate push or create the trigger. And to wrap up, so if your GitHub Actions flow is defined here, so it will automatically trigger that based on what condition you have provided here. So to wrap it up, what we did in this video is we set up a Playwright test to run automatically in GitHub Actions, and we learned how to save the report as artifacts, the test report as artifacts. And then if we didn't have, we initially initialized the Playwright project, and then we went to the GitHub workflow, and then we ran test locally to make sure everything worked fine. And then we added a workflow YAML file at the root of this project, so GitHub Action knows when and how to run the test. So that's the important, and we saw the important part where we installed all the dependencies and the post run steps, and then we triggered a workflow by pushing a file I didn't do this, but initially it did an automatic workflow run, but every time you pushed something, it will automatically trigger. And we also finally saw how the workflow downloaded the step where we uploaded the test reports to the Artifactory, and you can see all in the Actions tab. So this setup gives you a complete CI/CD pipeline for Playwright test. So every time you push your code, this action automatically runs your test and your reports saved for review. So this is how exactly a professional QA teams handle automated testing in real projects. In the next video, we will enhance this workflow with HTML reports, screenshots on failures, and videos of tests, so debugging becomes even easier. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated with more QA automation tips. Thank you.